by an exotic overhead cam Ford engine, nicknamed the Cammer by the racing crowd.
230 mile an hour has been broken.
Don Prudhomme, one of the coolest drivers in racing history, has been invincible all afternoon. Now he's approaching the line to face off against Larry Hendrickson.
And the win goes to Don Prudhomme. He will go into the final. A lap time 7.1.
Funny cars, as they're called, operate in a limbo between fantasy and reality. Externally, they resemble normal street automobiles, but their thin fiberglass shells cover sparse tubular frames and gigantic engines. They're nearly as fast as the pure dragsters, and their wicked displays of noise and speed make them great favorites among the crowd.
Some of the biggest names in the sport have arrived at Tulsa to take a crack at a share of the World Finals' nearly $100,000 in prize money. In the fuel dragster class, Sneaky Pete Robinson, the Georgia Tech engineer, has returned with driver Steve Carboni to try for his second consecutive World Finals championship. Representing Southern California is Don Prudhomme, a lanky young man who has won most of the nation's big drag meets, but is still looking for his first Tulsa victory. Detroit's Connie Kalita is here with his long-nosed Bounty Hunter, a car that's won the prestigious Winter Nationals Championship.
Eliminator title, Ron Ellis in his 1923 Model T-bodied dragster faces George Montgomery's supercharged Mustang in the championship run. Montgomery wins a tight race, running 164 miles per hour in the process.
For top fuel eliminator and over $6,000 in cash. Pete Robinson's Ford of Atlanta, Georgia in the far lane. And at the wire, Pete defeats Dave Beebe. So Pete Robinson, the new champion, 7.26 elapsed time, 200 miles an hour flat. So Sneaky Pete Robinson, his second major victory in his drag racing career. He originally earned his nickname Sneaky when he snuck into the 61 Nationals at Indianapolis to defeat the nation's finest, and now world champion of drag racing in the top fuel eliminator category.
The action is over. Quiet returns to the Oklahoma Plains.
The group also has 4 categories. Top fuel, which are the AA dragsters that run on exotic fuels. Top gas, which are dragsters running on regular gasoline. Fuel funny cars, which are really dragsters with fiberglass bodies. And Pro Stock, which is a category that I run.
Pro Stock is a 4-speed with a 427 SOHC engine in it, which is capable on the dyno at 690 horsepower. The Pro Stock car will run 135 to 140 mile an hour, in the low 10s and the high 9s. Now, this car has to be equipped with roll bars because it runs that fast. You have to have an engine strap in case you were to blow off fly wheels. I'm going to tell you, be sure and buy you a good helmet, not one of the cheap ones. I'm going to tell you, be sure and roll your fender wells. You didn't roll your wheel wells, what happened? The tires wobbled because we used the low-profile tires. You cut a tire. If the old man upstairs with you, you're here. If not, you're gone.
cars and drivers work their way through the elimination round. One final race between a pair of California pros remains. Danny Ongaias, driving a machine that resembles a Mustang sports coupe, will face Rich Saroyan at the wheel of a sparkling red Barracuda-bodied creation. The two drivers' rivalry is old and intense. Their cars' speeds are almost equal.
Saroyan has red-lighted. Rich Saroyan red-light. The winner is Danny Ongaias. Mickey Thompson wins. Let's read the numbers. A lap time for Big John.
Saroyan appears to win, but has left the line a millisecond early, causing his disqualification. Although he makes the run with an elapsed time of 7.24 seconds with a speed of 204 miles per hour, his error in judgment cost him the race. The winner, who drives a car belonging to retired racing champion Mickey Thompson, takes the championship, while his time for the quarter mile is slower, 7.47 seconds. Drag racing demands great speed, but punishes the overeager who violate its fail-safe electronic starting system. Today, Danny Ongaias observed rules and won, ironically by being slower.
Collins has got a little home-built dragster from Birmingham, and Pete Robinson is in the Factory Works car, the Ford-sponsored car, and this is like a David and Goliath match race. Mullins got out of shape a little bit off the line. Robinson took the win.
And Tommy Grove, who winds up his 427 single overhead cam Mustang funny car to an incredible output of over 1,500 horsepower. Tom uses a rocket fuel, blending nitromethane and alcohol, a mixture so secret he won't even tell his wife.
Pete Robinson, the defending World Finals champion, is a top-ranked star with heavy factory support. Like Don Prudhomme and several other big names at Tulsa, Robinson's car, called the Tinker Toy, is powered by an exotic overhead cam Ford engine, nicknamed a Cammer by the racing crowd. Pete is recovering from injuries suffered in a crash a few months earlier and is engaged a California pro, Steve Carboni, to drive his car at Tulsa.
Why should you win? Just because the guy's got a problem, I like to go over and help the guy go back in and race him the next round and beat him. He says, well, why did you prepare to help me fix my car? So I can beat you. That's what the people come here to see, right? And I'd like to see more people with this attitude.
In a funny car that was going over 200 miles an hour, all that you did with the funny car was steer it. Either the car hooked or it didn't. Now, he thought it was going to be real simple jumping in this little Maverick with an overhead cam on gas and going 135. But he found he had his hands full, and he'll openly admit that it's a much tougher car to drive than the funny car was.
And you're probably safer on the drag strip than you are on the freeways. I mean, we have ambulances are there, and they're down at the end, and they're also on the starting line. They have fire extinguishers and all kinds of safety equipment there at the drag strip, and they safety inspect all cars before they let them run. Well, I think everybody thinks they have their own little tricks, but when it all boils down, it's just who has the most horsepower. Who can leave the best on the lights. That's where the drag race is won. It's won right out of the starting line. You can anticipate on the tree just a little. As the last yellow light comes on, you wind your engine up, and of course, bonsai out of the gate at 7,000 or 8,000 RPMs.
Another driver who's having trouble at this point is three-time Winter Nationals champion Connie Coletta and his Bounty Hunter. He hasn't been able to record competitive qualifying times, and he's far from pleased about his performance.
Well, and my car didn't seem to work too good out there. We've got to do a little changing. It looks like the conditions are quite a bit different here, and looks like it's going to be just a little bit harder to get the cars to ET.
What kind of times did you run this morning?
I only run 750. I run 210, but it just couldn't get a hold of anything on the racetrack. They made a change here. They've scraped the racetrack, and there's a lot of loose pebbles that are being pulled up to the surface now, and it's really giving us a lot of problems.
Coletta is very carefully staging. This is an all-important run. Coletta has lots of smoke. Awful lot of smoke. 7:55. Coletta probably will not make the program.
A lot of people say, are you scared of the car because it's going 135 or whatever it's going and you're shifting 3 times? You've got a handful and you've got to shift it all the time. And that engine's up around 9,000 when you've got your foot to the floorboard and you're moving a lever. And it takes a lot, really. And when you dump the clutch at 6,000 RPM, you just sort of walk the car off the line and then feed into it gradually and then try to make your shifts around 8. And so we use between 9 and 10 pounds in the Goodyear tires. Now, I like the Goodyear, the fact that you don't have to do a lot of warm-up procedure. The tire will grip after 2 burnouts.
Doing the handling.
Ruth of this frantic 200-mile-an-hour sport. Since he's not entered at Tulsa, Don and I discussed the challenges that drivers would face on the wind-buffeted Southwest Raceway.
Speed is in the life of people. Competition among men is what it amounts to. It's getting on a drag strip and racing the cars down the track. That's what you call real clean competition. If we can just keep them off the street and keep them on the drag strip, nobody will get hurt and everybody will be happy in the long run.
Now, I'm a racer at heart, and I like to do this.
Just to go down the track 135 miles an hour would mean nothing to me. It's the idea is I want to beat the other fella.
If you've got talent with your engine, you've got talent in your driving, you can win a drag race.